let's turn this into this with this short video. Go. Okay, so today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to completely take a break from Gundams entirely, and we're going to work on this guy. So I've never painted a miniature before. All I've done as far as painting figures was the Banshee. So, and I just used spray paints and some detail paints. But with these miniatures, the only thing you do as far as spray painting goes is your base coat. And I did this in the Abaddon Black, and now I'm going to detail paint. So today, we're going to follow along with another YouTuber's way of doing things. He's a professional painter, and I've been watching his videos for a little bit, and he did a really good job. And I kind of want to mimic that. So let's get the paint started. When we get back, we'll start painting this thing. So while you're waiting, today we're going to use the following. I'm going to use a chisel edge dry brush, kind of rough it up a little bit just to make sure that it's completely random. I use a very fine point layer brush. I'm going to use Retributor Armor by Citadel, Iron Breaker and Lead Belcher, Macrack Blue, Abaddon Black, and Ceramic White. And then for some shading, we're going to use good old Nuln Oil. I've got all those in the palette. So what we'll do is we'll start off with some dry brushing. Okay, so basically what happened in the video was he took the darker color, the Lead Belcher. So what you're going to do is you're going to paint over the parts that you want metallic. Don't worry about being careful because you're going to cover any mistakes that you make or any overages with your base coat. Prime example would be these metal thrusters or buttons on the back of the legs. You're going to get over, and it's easy to fix with your base coat. But already, just in that, I took something that you couldn't see and made it very visible in just a few seconds. Now the gun is really cool because there's a lot of little details you can pick out with dry brushing, and it makes all the difference. Now there wasn't much on the helmet to pick out except for those the tubes leading from the face mask, but all those little details that you pick out and whatever you choose to pick out will really stand out later on. I apologize terribly for the out of focusness, especially on the backpack. I do fix that later on, but I'm essentially doing the same thing with the backpack as I've done with the weapon, the helmet, and the body. We're on to layering and painting. We're still going to do the metallics. And this time we're going to use the Retributor. It's important to use the side of the brush, which I didn't do, and that's why I made so many mistakes. Don't forget to get underneath the shoulder pads for that full look. right now, it looks pretty darn good. I'm going to let this dry. We'll come back and we'll move on to the next step. Go. Alright, so we're going to take some of the cracked blue and mix it with some black to get our base tone. Make sure that you take extra special care and avoid any recesses, because with your base coat being black, it already shades the recesses. But if you get paint in there, it's no big deal. We can fix it later with the Nuln oil. Remember what I said about dry brushing and how you don't have to be careful? Right here you can see the base color is covering up any imperfections that I made, and it makes it look like I hand picked out those buttons on the back of the legs. So now you'll go off and do this to the rest of the gun, or to the rest of the parts, including the helmet and all that. And I'll be right back. Go. Okay, now that everything is dried, I've given it more than enough time to dry. We are ready for the next step. So in the video that I watched, the guy put shading underneath here, and I will, but I'm not going to do that yet because my paintbrush wasn't as good as I was hoping to be. I was kind of depressed in this Citadel layer brush that I picked up. It doesn't hold the point very well. Not for the money that this thing was. I expected this thing to be a lot better. So I'm going to be looking for a different brush to do layer painting and stuff like that. So we will work on the shade as the final thing, just to give in that extra detail, whatnot. So now we're going to work on highlighting. So we've got our base color. It's nice and dark, but you can still tell the difference between the black and the base color blue. And we are going to start highlighting shadows. So we're going to use the McCrack blue and the ceramic white. And we're going to make a lighter shade of McCrack blue. So what we're going to do with this, so we're going to focus on, and the goal is, let me get some more McCrack blue. Hold please. What we're doing is we're highlighting where the light source is going to be coming from. And I'll blend that in, and it'll look much better once we get multiple layers on there. So like the knees here. And what we're doing is we're just getting... So I realized what I did wrong. Instead of mixing the McCrack blue with white, I should have used my base color and mixed it with white. So if you're going to do this, use your base tone that you used and mix it with white to make it a lighter shade. That's why it looks way too bright. When you're doing your highlighting, picture a light source directly straight down. I use that as my example. Depending on what your light source or where your light source is emanating from, that's where you'll focus your highlights. But I was picturing it as straight up and down. At this point, I'm trying to blend everything in and smooth everything out. I was finding places that light would hit, or finding mess ups that I've done and trying to fix them. This is my first time ever highlighting and shading a model or a kit period, so it was a new experience for me, but I think I did pretty good. Now we're going to take a very, very light shade of the McCrack blue and the ceramic white and create like light spot highlights on the tops, the very top of where the light source is going to be hitting. And finally, we're going to take some of the ceramic white and we're going to use it to create the shiny effect using the light source, just the white. And we're going to put that in strategic spots to make it seem like it's really, really shiny. Let that sit. Do some battle damage, because you know you can't have a warrior without some battle damage. So we'll see if I can get this thing to go into a true point. And we'll take some of the black, very, very small amount, and we'll just hit it with some small light scratches. I know what you're thinking. These aren't going to look like scratches, just black marks. Once you hit them with their highlight color, all I'm using for the highlight color is the actual highlight color I used, the lighter McCrack blue, and just running next to the black to attribute it to make it seem like there's light emanating off of it, like there's actually a crack there. And here, all I'm doing is grabbing some of the Iron Breaker, which is a lighter metallic silver, and I'm kind of highlighting the metallic parts, the silver metallic parts that I painted, just to kind of give them a little extra depth. You see how this is all nice and shiny? Well, I don't want it to be shiny. This is a shaded area. I want it to be kind of grimy and dirty. So we'll let that dry. But while we're at it, we'll hit some of these darker areas that I've highlighted. We'll hit them with a shade. just to kind of darken them up a bit, but not too much. And that'll also help to blend things in. So we'll hit it back here. Alright, we'll let this dry. We'll do the same to the inside of the thrusters here. But that is it. That's all I'm going to do. I followed, and I will put a link in the description. It's a guy named Ben. He professionally paints, and he created a video that said, paint an ultramarine in less than 2 hours. And it was how he did it. And he's right. I mean, I painted this thing, never painted one of these before. I painted this thing in roughly 2 hours or so. I mean, I had to stop and take a break. But yeah, I mean, there's shades, there's things that I've never done before. It may not look perfect, but I'm okay with the results. And once we put it back together and you really see it, then it'll look really good. All right, folks, that is it. Actually, you know what?